Y'all ready for Bad Bunny Bowl? Yeah, the Super Bowl. Bad Bunny is going to be the halftime performer. Football, you get what I'm saying? I have been locked into Bad Bunny since 2018. Very early on. I was listening to him in my college dorm when I first moved in, okay? And so now this is a full circle moment for me. I'm so proud that I get to watch my future baby daddy on screen here soon. Cannot wait. So excited. So proud of him. Anyways, hi everyone. It's Isabella here and welcome to the channel. So speaking of being in love, being into someone, having a little crush, if you will, we're talking about dating content. Now, I know this is going to be a very interesting topic that I've been dying to get into. We are going to be talking about the Danielle Walter effect and just the overall dating as content. Now, I know I'm going to be so honest with you here as a content creator myself and someone who yaps a lot online. I am somebody who I've talked about my dating experiences online, right? I've shared some very personally humiliating stories. Yeah, I have been incredibly stupid before. I'd like to let y'all know. So I have 100% shared certain aspects of my life. And I think many creators have shared little details about their relationships. We see the soft launch when it comes to showing off a partner where like you're showing a hand, you know what I mean? Like you're showing like there's a really big shoe in the corner of your photo and you're hoping that everyone's like, ooh, who is she with? Exactly. We have witnessed levels of dating content on social media. However, I want to talk about the extremes of utilizing dating content for all of your identity as a content creator. And it really kind of like unlocked this conversation when I was watching a content creator by the name of Danielle Walter. I have a lot that I want to talk about right now because there's some controversy involving her, but then additionally how this means like leads to a bigger conversation. And we're just, gonna hang out and chit chat a little bit today. So before we hop into today's video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel and click the bell button down below so you'll be notified of every single video I post. And now real quickly, I want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video. So Valentine's Day is coming up, as we all know. And as a single woman, I actually love this holiday because it's not just about love, it's also about self-love. And there are many ways that you can celebrate. So let's talk about the sponsor of today's video, Womanizer, who has a little something for everyone. Womanizer is the original inventor of what is known as pleasure air technology, which is used in all of their toys. So real quickly, I want to talk about two models that I absolutely adore, Liberty 2 and Next Duo. Liberty 2 is one of their more affordable womanizer toys. It is smaller, but do not underestimate it. It has 8 intensity levels, a magnetic travel case that is really great to keep it discreet, and it's waterproof. Now we have Next Duo, which is a combination of their top sellers, Next and Duo 2. Again, using pleasure air technology, it has 14 intensity levels, waterproof, a smart silence feature, so it only turns on when it touches skin, and an afterglow mode. So once you push this button, it will immediately go to the lowest setting after you're done. For all products, shipping is discreet and free. And the best part that I have to brag about is there is a 5-year warranty on all of their orders. So you are good to go with your purchase. So if you want to shop for yourself or a special someone on this holiday season, just go to the link in the description below and use my code ISABELLALOVE to get 20% off of your order today. Thank you so much for sponsoring today's video. And now let's get into it. All right, guys. So now let's get into the big meat and potatoes of this entire conversation. So I want to give a little disclaimer here because once again, I try to make it really clear. This is not a let's be a negative Nancy. Okay. I that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm genuinely fascinated by this content. And I think it's so interesting to talk about the pros and cons of it all. So this is not a let's go harass and grab the pitchforks and bother Danielle. That's not what I want to do. That's not what I'm trying to evoke. I just want to have a general conversation because this is a really interesting trend that I've seen pick up over the years that I do think needs to be talked about a little bit more because some creators are hopping into the dating content so hard that they're actually hurting themselves in the long run. And I'm going to be honest, I've totally related to this and I'm calling myself out on this as well. So if you guys are a little bit new to the dating content in general, let me give you a quick synopsis of what the hell this kind of stuff is. So if you know the creator Danielle Walter, she is a content creator on Instagram and TikTok who essentially blew up for making her dating series. Now she would talk about her first dates, getting ready for them, and how just like what she was excited for, debriefs after. And this stuff is really interesting because so many people love a reality show type of content when it comes to social media. And sometimes we don't really necessarily notice it when we're watching content, but sometimes things turn into a series. For example, if I have like a reactionary segment in my content, it's kind of like a series, right? Like that kind of series. So content creators sometimes have series, but some people blow up off of dating series. Now, this is again, like nothing crazy new, but I think it's become bigger and more focused and heavy lifting now than we've ever seen before in the past, I'd say like 3 years now. People will talk about their nightmare Tinder or Hinge dates. People will talk about their crazy experiences with exes. They will talk about getting ready for a date, what's going on, what's happening. And I'm going to be honest with you, I love a good messy story. I will tell you right now, I will be the first one to say, hey, me too. Oh my God, there's a content creator on TikTok. She has a pink iPad. If you have never seen her, I will have her linked in the description. She is funny as hell. I will say she's hilarious. I do enjoy her absolutely verbally dog walking a man. I do. I absolutely do. Okay. So everyone really likes this kind of content, which has led to some creators blowing up over it. And Danielle is a perfect example of this, where she has blown up over this series. And a part of some of her content, specifically as an example of what I'm trying to highlight, is she has locked into trying to find like her person and almost making it like an end goal of the series, which most of the time you see people who make like dating content or talk about it, there's not like an end goal with this. Whereas this, it feels like it is an end goal and it's something that she's trying to find, which actually now led to her making a series talking about how she was absolutely in love with this guy that she met. That was like 3 months, you know what I mean? Like they made a very, like almost like a 20-part series, a very, very long series talking about themselves and how they love each other. And I was like, oh shit. Now I'm going to be honest with you guys. Just so you know, I am going to publicly embarrass myself right now. I like to let y'all know that it was quite a bit ago, but I have in fact moved in with somebody who I was dating for 3 months. I know. Please, I beg of you, give me mercy. Okay. It was not the brightest moment I've ever had in my life. Do I recommend? Oh my God. I would literally recommend dragging my labia across hot concrete on Yelp before I ever tell you to do that shit. It was hell, I tell you, hell. So I've been there. As someone who's been on that side, I understand wanting to share that kind of stuff and be like, oh my God, I love this person. Because I did that, right? I was somebody who I showed like, oh my God, like I'm a new man guy. I show the back of his head or something. Like I would do that kind of stuff because I was excited. And when you're in these relationships and you're having these experiences, you want to bring people along. And especially because if you have a community that you've kind of developed over having these conversations, I mean, I can relate to this. You want to tell people, right? Like I love telling y'all stuff. I love sharing things with you guys, but some creators forget that there needs to be a limit and there has to be a line. Otherwise it gets really toxic. And also then when is enough enough? And what's the point where you're practically exploiting yourself for attention online?
Now is what we've been waiting for. And I can't just keep this to myself. Why would I stop telling the story right when we get to the good part? So here we go. Honey.
Hi, babe.
Okay, let me mic you up.
Okay.
So number one, I want to talk about, I know when it comes to dating content, it performs so well because it kind of hits a multitude of factors that a lot of us really enjoy. One, messiness, okay? If any of y'all have watched Jersey Shore, the Kardashians, the Real Housewives, something to that degree, Below Deck, you're going to get what I'm talking about. Love Island, you get what I'm saying. You're going to know that there's a level of messiness that we all enjoy. Whether we want to get on our high horse and say, no, I don't dabble in that shit. Yeah, you do. Don't lie to me. We love a good argument on our televised devices. Okay, we do. So that is something that sometimes we lock into. The second part is we are really emotionally invested and we care, which then leads into like a parasocial relationship between the audience and the creator who makes content like this. Then it kind of goes a step further to where some people not only watch the individual making the dating content, but then they start to put their own personal experiences out there and connect so deeply that sometimes some people will put their own personal experiences so far and then project it onto you and your relationship. Perfect example of this is the Hard Launch series that Danielle actually posted up. And oh my God, this one really, like, I'm going to be honest, this threw me through a loop. It was like the Hard Launch series that, like I said, was highlighting her guy, highlighting her person and the story and everything behind them.
So then enter October, which was a really fun month. We had lots of dinners, one at your good friend's house with the private sushi chef, which was incredible. At what, honey?
What?
At what?
At shopping.
And that's it.
Oh, another thing then. You were the best. Yeah, just a trip by itself, like waking up in the morning, having our breakfast.
Yeah, we had breakfast every morning. That was sweet with them. And then just Disneyland is my favorite. So is our conflict resolution styles. I've never been in a relationship where I can express my needs and not have to justify why they logically make sense and then have to sell someone on why they should be better, thinking everything is going to fall apart if we have a disagreement or crying. And I'm working on that.
Like, how can we find peace and not put weight over you? So we are not searching for mistakes, we're searching for resolutions.
Do you want to share about your conflict resolution style?
Well, in the past, My love, if you were in the bad emotion, it was really hard for me to hold that bad emotion and bring a positive one to overcome the bad emotion.
And my anxious tendencies came up. I was terrified that you would leave. Before ending this, I just want to say to the single girl out there that's been watching and waiting for their person, our love story is for you. I started posting dating content as you years ago, and I never want to forget you. I want to encourage you that your person is on the way, and I want our story to give you hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met my person at 32. Maybe yours is sooner, maybe yours is later, but I do know it will happen for you. And also, thank you for being here with us and giving us the space to grow. I never imagined my story would unfold this way, but I'm so happy that it did.
Yeah, it's God's gift.
Yeah.
So I actually sat down and I did watch this entire series because I was really curious just before I gave my 2 cents on this. And one thing I noticed is it didn't feel, and again, this is just my hot take and my opinion. You do not have to agree with me on this, but after a bit, it didn't feel real. And I was like, why does this feel a little bit off to me? Why does this feel odd? And I was like, oh, this feels like an act. It feels like this is too much focusing on showing that she accomplished something and that she did something great and that she finally got the guy over actually it being organic. It started to, again, cross that line I was discussing where we went from, oh, this is a piece of content, I'm telling you a quick story and there's a boundary, versus let's truck through the wall of boundaries and share way too many details about each other and people have way too much access. And so the more I started paying attention to this content, I also started to consider the fact that there's some people who get so emotionally invested as well on the creator end that maybe they feel like they have no choice but to do that, since that's the one thing that paid off for them content-wise. But then additionally, well, that's the thing that sells. That's the interesting story. And that also can lead to some very, I would say, inauthentic and messy storylines that could lead into the content space, which can be really, really unhealthy for viewers and also the creator in itself. Now, I want to give y'all a little bit of tea here. And I just want to let you guys know, I found out about someone who allegedly is local in my area that makes dating content, okay? And I had a couple little birdies tell me that this creator who makes dating content on Tinder's horror stories, Hinge and everything, it was completely fake. Majority of it was fake. But the additional part was they were only on dating apps to start controversy and problems, so they had content to make. And then again, this got the wheels turning and I was like, holy shit, this is a business that we're talking about here. Because this stuff sells. It absolutely does. It can lead to growth, sponsorships, additional progress as a content creator, and you're known for this kind of stuff. So people love, like I said, people love a good messy story. I click on that shit all the time. So it makes so much sense why some creators would lean into that and could take it in a way that is too far, where they're practically exploiting themselves and their stories and their experiences just to get attention, or also not even really considering the fact that this could hurt them in their relationships in the long run too. And not to mention the fact that I was also thinking about how some of this stuff is fake, or some people are being purposely bad for content, just really kind of made me go damn, we are hitting such a wild place on the internet where some people are so desperate to get attention that they can't think of doing anything else creatively. And so therefore it's what can I do to get people's attention in the quickest way possible, which would be this. And that drives me crazy. This is a hot take I'm going to throw out here. I also think when it comes to this new wave of dating content, there are some people who take it so far and in such an unhealthy way that it, again, also I think is influencing the dating culture in itself, where now it's becoming almost more normalized to air out every detail about your life and relationship, which is actually, fun fact, going to lead into another deep dive that I want to do in the future. I want to talk about shitty husbands and boyfriends. That's a very generalized conversation, but you know that trend where you see someone where they're on TikTok and they post up their husband doing something awful, and then they're shocked when the internet blows up and is you should leave. That's a really bad person. Why would you stay? And then they go, well, no, you don't know him like I do. It really isn't that bad. How can you determine our relationship from a 5-second video? It's kind of the same thing where some creators want the attention from it, but yet at the same time want the attention from it and are sharing so much that it actually is really impactful potentially to a relationship, but it's just at the end of the day, way too damn much. And sometimes it's so desperate for attention and views, and it works. It works really, really well. I can't lie to you. I'm going to be honest with you. I posted up a video one time. I had a guy in my apartment building. Okay, now mind you, I will tell you he was hot. He was an incredible gentleman, and I did feel like I was in a book. All right, I was having a blast. I was having a time. However, I did cook him pasta, and I made a video on it. And I had so many people ask me for updates. Now, the shit fell through, unfortunately, okay? I mean, if I were to word it like Bridgerton, I have a long list of prospects, I'll be fine. But like, I was like really impressed because so many people were interested in that story. But it actually made me sit back and go, whoa, I got to make sure if I share details like this, that I have boundaries, because that could lead to really toxic relationships and way too much. Because one thing I will say is there should be a line that some people don't know about you on social media. And I believe this kind of content is almost, some people are speed running into ignoring that because it's simply getting views and attention. And they don't realize that once they get the views and attention, some viewers are expecting more, are expecting to know everything, and are wanting to have access to you in a way that's not normal. Like, it's not normal for a couple to have thousands and thousands of people watching them constantly with every detail about the relationship, right? Like, it's not normal for us to hear about arguments. It's not normal to see the ins and outs or see that level of like detail about a relationship, right? It's not very typical. And so it's kind of manifested into a big money maker. And some people are so desperate for that. And again, like I've said on this channel, becoming a content creator, that they will do anything to get to that place. And if it means making up a bunch of dating stories, then they're going to do it. Now, another thing I want to talk about that is a problem when it comes to being a dating content creator is the shift in trying to get out of being a dating content creator. Now, I know we've talked about on this channel before how sometimes as a creator, you just have to pivot and shift, but not everyone knows how to do that, right? And so if you're someone, for example, who wants to make dating content and talk about this kind of stuff, that could be fine and dandy. But if that's all you're known for, if that's all that you offer, if that's the only value, some audiences are going to get bored if you decide to not post that anymore. So that's when you're going to get into the vicious cycle and trap, because if you don't know what else to post and that's your job, you quit your 9 to 5 for it, you're kind of fucked. So if you don't know what else to do, you are literally stuck in this cycle of I have to keep talking about this relationship of love, which is so exhausting and toxic, you guys. And then you feel like you have no other option but to stay. And then there are some people who do try and pivot, and the pivot maybe isn't as good. Take, for example, when you've seen content creators who built their platform off of becoming like they're talking about their 9 to 5 jobs, and that's all they were known for. And then they quit their 9 to 5 and then they try to shift and they have no strategy, no plan, no way of shifting. And all of a sudden people don't give a fuck. That's a great example of that. Okay. If you grow a platform and you don't have a good strategy to get to a different place where you want to be, you're screwed. But so many creators, for example, and again, my opinion, like Danielle, is an example of this, where this is the biggest thing that she's known for. And there's not really any real variety when it comes to value and substance outside of that. It sounds exhausting. And even Danielle has actually come out a couple of times and said how this could be a lot for her.
I disappeared because I finally found the thing that I've been praying for years, and I was scared the internet would ruin it before it had a chance to grow. As you may have noticed, I haven't posted my usual style video in a long time, 3 months to be exact. It worked. I found the man I'm going to marry, and just like some people watching right now thinking I'm getting ahead of myself, or who didn't like the pace I was going, or don't like how I express myself, you name it, there's been every opinion, got pretty bad. I was being criticized from every angle, and while I thought I could handle it, it definitely seeped in. I stopped wanting to be creative. I didn't want to film. People weren't wrong for having opinions. That's fine. They were wrong for forgetting I'm a person on the other side of the screen. I will say one part of my role as a content creator influencer is to capture and retain attention. Okay? And it's not really defined whether that is positive or negative attention, because they say all press is good press. And I ran the numbers today. I didn't really look at this. I knew in making the decision on how to split this up that I would get more views by splitting it up, keeping it under the time limit for short form content requirements, having more episodes. The series in 21 parts only on Instagram is at 39 million, okay? And only 6 out of the 21 videos are under 1 million views.
And that's what we see sometimes with other creators, is this need to keep validating and providing for an audience, but in a way that's self-sacrificing and harming you in the long run. So like, when is enough enough? And when did this like fun dating story turn into an exhausting job where you have to make up stories or exploit your relationship to get attention? Another example that I want to throw out here that I think could also lead to, if you have too much information on your relationship, is there was a very large TikTok creator. Now, I okay? I'm so sorry. My mind is going blank right now and I'm forgetting their names. I will be putting them up on my screen here because I'm trying to make y'all know. Allegedly, they are both divorcing right now. Now, the interesting conversation that's happening is both of them make content. One of the creators mainly, she would post up more when it would come to funny pranks and humorous stuff and whatnot. And the main constant conversation I keep seeing is, well, this person must be tired because they post up too much. This person must be tired because the other person posts up too much. And then everyone is analyzing the divorce. Everyone won't let it go. Everyone is making fun of the one or the other in each other's comment section. It becomes insane. And I literally, as a content creator myself, it has made me reevaluate and go, damn, like I know whenever I get into a relationship, if that happens, I'm going to be so excited and I'm going to want to show somebody off that I love dearly, but I am going to have some self-control and have a line. Like there is going to have to be a line here because that right there, that's crazy. Having so many people analyze every inch and movement when it comes to your relationship and what you do after it. Oh, hell no. Literally lock me up. I would lose my marbles. I would lose my marbles. That would be crazy. And these are the dangers I don't think anyone talks about when it comes to having dating as content and couples content as well, because you are literally opening up everyone to look into your love life. And I do think that there is a line that's getting too far, but because it's so profitable, it's really hard for people to want to step away and do something else. And another thing I want to mention, and again, this is going to be a little bit like, this may be a little bit of a hot take, but I want to throw it out here and I want to talk about this. I do think there are some creators in general where they want to hop on something that gets views quickly over taking the longer path and providing more value that may take longer. And I would like to say there are some people who want to hop on trends and anything else and then don't know what to do and we're not prepared for it and then fall. And then there's some people who maybe are like, you know what, I'm going to slowly build up and I'm going to really try and get really, really good, even if it's hard, and build my way up that way. And I think some people really don't want to take the long route, which like valid. It took me years to make this like an actual job. Okay. However, is it really worth it to do all the crazy trendy things? Like, is a trend actually worth it to you to potentially harm yourself mentally? Is it worth it for the money, but you're exhausting, you hate your life? Is it worth it to feel like you're trapped? And another point that I don't see a lot of people making is how you interact in public when it comes to being a dating creator. Because think about this. If you are making all of your content about every single date you ever go on, and then let's say you blow up, you have a big audience, then how does that go when it comes to meeting other people? I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I have flat out had somebody that actually went on a date with me that knew so much about me already, but said that they didn't know me before. We met on a dating app, that's how. But I didn't know that. And I was like, oh, fuck, okay. I didn't know that was a possibility. Now imagine that when it comes to everything about your dating life. What if somebody purposely wants to date you or be with you because they want to be a part of your content? What if they have some malicious intent, right? What if they're wanting to be a part of your story? There's so many ways where that could actually go wrong and make your dating life maybe a little bit harder if you don't have proper boundaries in that. And also, how would it affect your friendships? That's another thing that some people don't consider with this dating content is if you make all of your content that shares too much about your personal life, are your friends even going to feel comfortable with you? You know what I mean? Even conversing with you and telling you personal details. And I do believe that we've hit like a level with some content where some people, again, don't have any boundaries and just run through. And it is this very toxic, everything is content. And while I will say in my day-to-day life, I always have that perspective of, oh, everything's content. Everything's content within limits. Oh, I'm grocery shopping. Yeah, I could film that. That's content. Oh, okay. Well, I'm like doing my hair. That could be content. I'm going to be starting a workout class and I'm going to be doing Pilates. That's content, but if I make sure no one else is in the background, right? Or I ask their permission. Grocery shopping, okay, that's content, as long as I protect the people in the background. Okay, well, I can highlight certain things about my relationship or maybe have them a part of it. That could be content within limits and boundaries to protect the overall health and wellness of myself and the person with me. I mean, for example, I have had a relationship where this was my job, and every single thing I shared about them, every little detail, every time, I always ask permission. End of story. Because it could end up becoming exploitative and exhausting and not something that is good for any party in general. And one other point that I want to talk about is how I think some of this dating content ends up gamifying dating and not taking it seriously. And as someone where I know I've had my moments where I didn't want anything serious at the time, and then I also wanted something more serious. And now I don't know, I am in the point in life where I really do love eating Cheetos topless in my living room midday. That's just the vibe that I'm on right now, okay? That's my relationship status. You get it. This could lead to gamifying the relationship where now it doesn't feel like we're engaging with a human woman. We're just engaging with the person to exploit them for content. And that is another thing that I'm getting really uncomfortable with, because I can't even imagine me, and I do this for a living, having someone get in front of me, date me, and then want to air out every bit of conversation. That sounds so violating. Like, that really does sound unsettling. Now, don't get me wrong. If I was an awful, mean piece of shit and bitch, valid. Like, I think anyone that's an awful, mean person is going to get aired out. That's completely valid. But if that's all you're doing, all you're known for, and every date, it's every detail constantly shared with everyone, I do think that's too much. And I don't personally understand, and maybe it's just me, but I don't personally understand how someone can feel good going that far constantly, and that is all you are known for.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what this is. Heavy.
It's heavy.
Oh, heavy.
I am about to get picked up for, I don't even know what date this is, with my potential future husband. It's just so great. Like, dating someone who like wants to spend time with you, and if we're both free, like, we'll ask the question of, can I see you? So we had a plan to go to church together tomorrow, which is very exciting.
Because yeah, I can only imagine waking up and seeing, oh my God, this guy that I went out on a date with, they just talked about me and they made fun of the way I acted. Like, it makes you self-conscious and nervous. And I believe that it reminds me of, you know how if someone's like recording in public and then you're like, oh God, you get nervous. It's not fun anymore. It's not fine. And I think it's the same when it comes to this kind of dating content. Is now there's some people who are trying to farm a story and aren't considering a person. And it becomes just violating after a bit and really just uncomfortable in itself. And I'm all for a fun story. I'm all for something interesting. And I really do think that this is entertaining. But again, like, this is kind of a lot. I've always been very curious about creators who want to make content like that, because after a bit, I am always curious, when is enough? Now, I also want to say that there are some creators who do it right. You know, they are asking permission behind the scenes. They're doing great jobs with it. They're not airing out too much information. And I will always find that quite entertaining. And there are some people who are like, this guy hit me with their car, or this guy tried to make me sleep with him over a Popeye sandwich. Okay, that well deserved. I would air their ass out too. But again, when is enough? And I think it's leading to gamifying relationships, which is impacting the dating world way more than what we think. Hi, Editing Bella here. I forgot to mention a couple things that I wanted to add into this topic of conversation, because I think, again, there's a couple little things I was like, wait a minute, I need to let y'all know. Number one, again, I don't want this to be a let's shit on all like people who talk about their dating experiences. That is not at all the vibe that I want to give. And second of all, please remember as well that I don't want to use this as like a green light to be like, let's go bother people who talk about their dating stories, because we also don't know them in real life, right? Like, we don't know if they've asked permission. We don't know what their story is. We don't know what's going on. Just keep that in mind. But I did want to utilize Danielle, for example, as a piece of how I think this could become toxic and harmful, where it ends up being so much worse than what she actually realized and could be more harmful than good. I'm going to finish up this with a couple other disclaimers. If you are somebody who is interested in sharing your partner and information and you want to talk, please always remember that when you post that, that's going to be up on the internet for anyone to give comments on, anyone to reshare, anyone to like, anyone to send in the group chat, anyone to make fun of. So before we click post of let's air this out, are you comfortable with everyone knowing about your personal, intimate life like that? Are we just utilizing this to make content because we want to go viral? Or are we really thinking about the potential repercussions that this can actually offer? 3, are we also considering the fact that there's another person involved and maybe they don't want all their information out there? And also, if you have a partner that you're posting, are you making sure they're comfortable with it, right? Are they cool with how much you're sharing about them? Are they cool with if you share certain details about your guys' sex lives? Like, are we comfortable with this? Because this is not just a casual post. Like I say with even posting up on kids, for example, I don't think kids should really be posted up on social media much anyways, but it's the same thing. It's another human being that we need to be considerate of. But I also want to encourage people to realize that you can 100% grow a platform without having to do those things. Like, you can share awesome stories and experiences without making it your entire identity. And again, like, I've shared dating stories and experiences, but all I'm saying is maybe don't make it your entire world. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we don't make it the entire aspect of your TikTok. You know, maybe we shouldn't tell every single detail about the dating life constantly, always, because like, maybe you're going to have bad luck on dating because you tell too much. Me as the content creator online would not date another content creator who shares too much. Flat out. I would not, because that is crossing a boundary that I even wouldn't do on myself. And to me, me, and again, just my hot take here, I think Danielle Walter is a perfect example of this, where it can go too far, where a lot of people have opinions, where maybe you feel cornered, where now your relationship and all your information is out there. Now you maybe feel like it's a part of the process. Now people are betting on you losing or betting on you winning. And now you don't really feel like a person. You just feel like someone who has to go through the motions to pay the bills. And I think that can be really, really overwhelming and exhausting. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I thought this was a really interesting conversation to have when it comes to just the dating world in general and dating as content. But yeah, what do you guys think? How do you guys feel about this? I'm going to be honest with you. Am I going to share a couple stories with y'all when it comes to dating? Yes, I will. Am I going to be pretty particular with how I do it? Absolutely. I know I make my fun little inappropriate jokes, but if I have somebody, you're not knowing anything unless they say it's okay. My partner asked for me to whip out the grapefruit. I won't tell y'all, but I mean, I do it. Oh, unless they said it was okay, then maybe I'll tell y'all. Okay, anyway, sorry. What do you guys think? I hope you guys enjoyed today's video on the topic of dating as content. You know, this is a really interesting thing to just discuss in general because there's so many positives and negatives about this kind of content. I like just yapping with y'all. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the sponsor Womanizer in the link in the description below and pin comment. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe. Have a phenomenal weekend. And I will see you guys next week. Love ya. Bye.